Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Afternoon FM. Today, I am joined by Jaquair Gillette, poet, filmmaker, author, amongst other things.
Yeah.
This man is a multi-hyphenate.
Hey, I'm just I like to sum it up like I'm just a co-creator of stories that show the beauty and truth of humanity and its possibilities, and I invest in dreams and ideas.
And he's saying that humbly. What's going on, bro?
All right, man. How are you? Well, congratulations is in order for you, man. The glance.
Glance, bro.
Yeah. Film
man.
festival, y'all. He did this in what? He did this in 7 days. He shot this film in 7 days.
7 days from location scout to screening, and it's a really, really beautiful piece. I'm very happy about it. I still have a lot of editing to do. I feel like it's still in rough draft form, but I really like the fact that you just can just push something out and actually get it to the screen. It's good, man, and it really it tested me a lot too. It tested me of like, a good dancer can dance in any shoes, bro.
I feel you on that. I like that
instrumental
analogy.
break on that fucking line was crazy.
That was perfect. You sure?
A good dancer can dance in any.
Like, you sure you didn't plot that? That was
nah. It was just vibes, man. Dude, it was a shout out to Issa Miles Perez and Neil Desai.
Issa Miles, the mad woman herself, amazing, dynamic international actor. I mean,
fucking crushed it. That and crushed maybe 8 other fucking roles during the 7 days.
Yeah, she is what we were saying, she's a little tour de force, man.
Tour de force, bro. Yeah, man, fucking crazy. But yeah, dude, it was shout out to Neil Gazette, shout out to Kasha and Justin Noblik.
Absolute.
Yeah, man, it was in 7 at Garden Ship, just a 7-day video art residency, but It was wonderful, man. It was a really wonderful experience. It was a little bit of a redemption because last year I shot 3, but I only there was only 2 that got released. They released Rashad's and Neil's. I didn't submit mine because I couldn't get my keyframing down in time. So
really?
I didn't finish my editing. So I was like, fuck. And I was kind of reluctant to do it again. And the first day I was getting kind of problems. Like my main actor dropped out. And then I was like, fuck. But then I got to the spot and I was like, I'm hoping it's going to, I'm like, yo, fuck it.
I'm having that problem now.
You got to just, man.
Having that problem now with an actor, having to drop out of a project that we're working on. It's one of those, it's like, you hate for it to happen, but it happens because, scheduling conflicts and stuff like that. And, he's a stand-up comedian, but, he's doing his thing. Yeah. So I was like, hey, you know what?
Gotta let him rock.
Oh, no, yeah. No, do you. You know what I'm saying? It's, I'm going to catch you on the next one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Are you going to act in it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, wait. See, that's the thing, bro. That's the cool thing about it is that, when you're... It tested me in that situation because I actually, I take acting classes, but I don't act.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
I am just in the situation of the actor. I want to be in the shit with the people, you know what I mean? Where it's I'm like, yo, I know what a monologue. I know how to do a monologue.
Pete Berg does that.
A couple people. Edward Norton is my fucking guy, though, man. I got to do with the monologue from the 25th hour tomorrow.
Okay.
That's a crazy.
So you really taking? Okay, so
I'm taking them. Yeah, I still take them, but I don't push it. But it's it put me in the fire, and I had to figure out how to put myself in screen and frame myself, and it was good. That was the first time. Normally I'm my art kind of takes voyeurism, where it's I'm sitting there and I'm looking at things that are happening in real time, and I'm there to capture it in a way that's good and truthful. But it's different because I'm all right, yo, let me bring this camera over here. This is cool. Sometimes I fucked up a little bit, but it was it was definitely something that was it tested a lot too, and it was wonderful, man. Next year I really want to test myself with animation. It's
I think you should, man. Well, as
you
artists,
gotta get on that shit.
Hey, I'm with, because especially because I'm looking at it, see, you come from the perspective of that the filmmaker from the behind the scenes from behind the camera, whereas for me, Like, for me, acting is the first. Like, you know, because I'm an actor, whole producer, and writer. So, like, from me, I'm looking at it from a different vantage point. Whereas it's like, oh no, like, if I'm writing the projects, more than likely, I'm definitely in it.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, I'm looking at it also from a performance aspect. Whereas I've also had to learn, you know, on the producing side, the writer side, which is what I was taking formerly when I was at my alma mater, Rample College.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was a whole package deal, but for me, the acting was first. Being the artist, the performer, was first, but also knowing that I had stories and ideas, and it was like, well, you know, yeah, you could do it as an actor, but you're doing other people's work. You know, just like how you're doing the 24 hours, you know, with from Edward Norton.
Yeah.
You know, like, I did it from, you know, learning monologues, classical and contemporary, you know, all the way from Aristophanes and Shakespeare and Moliere, going all the way to the contemporary, you know, artists, you know, of Gene O'Neill, Tennessee Williams, and, you know, Lorraine Hansberry, you know, like, of the contemporary ones who we know today.
Yeah.
So having to learn that, you know, learning both aspects of it, you know, I love it. It's all encompassing.
Yeah.
And
it's that's the beauty. That's what really got me into filmmaking as well. Not necessarily acting, but like, I remember it was Barry Lyndon. It was this Stanley Kubrick film called Barry Lyndon that got me, like, because I noticed I was into
Stanley Kubrick.
Shouts to Kubrick, bro. But it was I remember watching that shit, and I was like, yo, this is everything. Like, this is all the things. This is like literature, poetry, music, you know, photography multiplied. Like, you know, there's no sacrifice in it, and it's like a whole thing every single time. But I feel like we're about to witness a really great story. So,
but that's the beauty of filmmaking. You know, it's all encompassing of so many different arts, or so many different artistic disciplines, just to make this one product. There's one product, you know, like, it's just,
they're all like miracles to me, bro. It's so crazy. Like, even watching like shitty films, like watching like Howard the Duck was a whole company, bro. It was millions of dollars for Howard the Duck.
And I like it. Shout out to Leah Thompson, yo.
Howard the Duck is some crazy
that's
shit.
Classic, man. Like, that's a classic film. I don't like his. But yeah,
man. But let's go into you, man. Tell me a little bit about your early life. Where you from?
Ooh, wow. You know, I like to say, you know, born and raised in part of the Muncie Lenape People's Land. That's birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution. Station stop on the Underground Railroad, better known as Paterson, New Jersey. Yeah, I grew up here. I grew up on East 19th, 10th Avenue, in that area, and you know, it was. It was part of, you know, the grittiness of the city that it has, and, you know, but it was also it was very adventurous, you know, at the same time. You know, like, I know as a kid, I did say I was fortunate enough just to have that curiosity and wanting to explore, you know. So even in my neighborhood, like, you know, just getting in this, even like little mischief for, like, you know, the factory buildings and playing around there, and, you know, pretending that you're this, like, you know, I was thinking I was an explorer and wanted to explore this building, and, you know, just having fun, as, you know, when most kids were outside playing, you know, even though now, you know, it's a little bit different, but you know, growing up in that environment, you know, it had its challenges, you know, like, you know, I grew up, it was like, you know, like 4 or 5 of us in a 1-bedroom apartment. You know, that's where I started.
You have four brothers and sisters?
Actually, it was I do have 2 sisters and 2 brothers. However, 2 of my brothers and 1 of my sisters are on my father's side. And me and my mother, she only had 1 other child outside of myself. So it was me, my mother, my grandmother, you know, and we had family that lived with us, you know, in a 1-bedroom apartment. You know, and then we eventually, you know, moved up a bit, got a 4-bedroom, you know, but it was, you know, like I said, it was, you know, you deal with the troubles of, you know, the city and of the area, but at the same time, you know, it was a part of what made me who I am. You know, like, all of it, like the good, the bad, you know, the ugly. It helped build me to Because one of the things I would say is that even despite all the challenges, I did have the opportunity to explore my imagination, my creativity. And that really helped me out because I believe early on I saw my blessing and my likeness in the arts. And like art, tell people all the time, drawing, like illustrations, and like that was my first love. Like I wanted to be an animator, I wanted to be a cartoonist, I wanted to be a Disney Imagineer. That was like my, when I was a kid, that was literally, that's what I had wanted. I had an interest in the performing arts because it was stuff also like, we used to do, me and my cousins used to do little skits and sketches because we were huge fans of like, In Living Color, and you had SNL, you had Mad TV, you had it was that. And then growing up watching the movies, like movies were just big, like especially when I go to my grandparents' house on my father's side, movies was huge, like he'd
VHS. So you on the VHS?
Heavy VHS. I tell you all the time,
tapes, bro.
Heavy VHS. I had to. And I think
Blockbuster. That's when I feel movies.
Blockbuster was the truth, man.
Yo, bro, it was when movies were like. It's weird now. Like I was on. I used Apple TV for the first time yesterday because I've been like.
How was that?
It sucked. Like it wasn't good at all.
Oh my god!
I'm not dissing Apple TV.
That as an Apple shareholder, I would say that hurts. But however, that is hilarious, and I understand.
It's just like I don't know, man. Like Netflix will have one banger. They'll have like 2 or 3 bangers a year. And then HBO is HBO. They constantly produce
exactly. Quality. It's not TV. It's HBO.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And then but I'm going through it, and I'm like, you know what, man? It's just like there's so much selection and there's no restriction of it. With Blockbuster, when you had that shit,
paradox of choice.
Well, yeah, it was like I think Mad Lib was talking about music, and he was saying that I like the SP404 because it's not like if I'm using an unlimited source of things, then I'm just sitting here tinkering around with the infinite. When I could just, if you restrict yourself, you you have to pick the best parts of the song, rather than I can use whatever. I have infinite expansion. It's like that restriction of choice where it's like I need to pick a good film. Yeah. And it's like if you pick a bad film, you lost $8. You know what I mean? Or some shit. Kind of how film photographers too. Film photographers, you have to be very wary of the shot because every single shot or shooting film, each roll of film is fucking $150. I could be wrong. You know what I mean? But I don't know the economics of the film. But I'm saying when you're shooting actors on film, every take counts. We can't fuck up this much. So there's stakes, and when there's stakes in it, there's the quality ends up coming out of that. I don't mean to go on a tangent on that shit.
That pressure. But to your point about that's one of the benefits of, I guess you could say, confinement or being you're being confined to these X amount of options. Yeah. Because then it kind of forces you to pick the best what you. In order to create something. Yeah. That's what that's why it's one of the reasons why I respect whenever you have 48-hour film challenges, 72-hour film challenges. It's one of the things I respect because it's your time is limited.
Yeah, bro.
And you have to be on point. It's really
stressed
good.
Out of my mind.
Oh yeah,
it's so crazy.
Yeah, to that degree of stress. And just in that confinement, what it can do is that it could also it help raises your bar of creativity, but also it also tests you to see how well you can work under pressure.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was wonderful. It was amazing because last year I had a composition. I was something that was in the vault where I was I'm gonna do this 3-face thing, and it's gonna be this weird experimental thing, and this is probably where I can do this. But then I didn't really have the concept for it. I didn't Neil gave a very brief concept, and then he gave me a different script, and I was all right, let me fuck with this a little bit. Yeah. And then when I got there, I rewrote the script. When I was there, I was no, this is gonna make sense, and I just rode the lightning. And when you ride the lightning, most of the times, you know, if you just ride the wave, man, and you just get on the surfboard and you just ride the wave, the best you could ride the wave, and the wave is gone. You know what I mean? And having that, like, the wave could be forever.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
What I mean? You could edit that shit forever.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that wave right now is like, that was a 7-day wave, and the wave is done, and I'm happy that, you know, I'm really happy that that's fucking, like, you know, but it's done. You know what I mean? It's like busting a nut. I'm serious. It was like a 7-day nut. It was like, I was like,
you finally got that one out.
Yo, I finally busted the nut, and fucking, it's just like gone. You know what I mean? And it's not gone. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, that release.
I gotta mess with the nut later. I don't know what fucking weird ass analogy I'm going into. I gotta stop with this, man. There's people who like hit me up. They're like, yeah, I love this episode, and I'm like, oh shit, there's like listeners, bro. I gotta calm the fuck down. I'm like, I gotta calm down. But no, dude, it was kind of like that. It was like, but now, you know, I felt like a sense of euphoria after it, and I was happy because like it did test a lot of things, man. And you know, like, I don't know, I'm happy about it. Like, you know, like, I didn't have any preconceived shots. It was just, you know, what really helped, man, is fucking Paterson, man. Is the everyday photos.
Salute, man. Salute the Paterson, the Patersonian, man.
Bro, every day with those photos, man, you got it built like this, like, doesn't matter, man. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like,
I love the photos, man. Every time I see him when you post them, I'm just like, yo, he just captures the city in a way
I love
that
it, bro.
is just,
it's human.
I mean, yeah. It's human. It has this rawness to it, but it also it paints such a picture, and it's just like, I know. Later time I see, I look, I'm like, yo, like I love the grittiness of it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
sometimes it's not even good quality, bro. Sometimes I don't like. The thing is, dude, it's just, you can get in your head about all of these things, like it'll be like, oh, there's like, it has to be like a certain quality, or it has to be like, you know, like beautiful, or like, you know, this like hopped up version of people. And it's just reality, man. Reality is beautiful enough if you could capture it just as it is and see, like, you get it. All it is, man, is just you get this emotion and you're able to capture it. But enough about me, bro. Like, let's go to you, man.
Actually, the piggy, back off that, actually, because you raised up something in me, just from an actor and from a poet perspective. You know, one of the things that I know that this is something I have struggled with as an actor, and this is something that actually I just tend to struggle with. This is that, you know, because I know, like me, like, one of my issues is I'm a thinker. You know, I'm really thinking, like, you know, with my acting choices to the, you know, to the point where it's like I'm so focused on like the concrete action that I forget about the rhythm. And because even when you're doing a scene with someone, there's a rhythm. And that's something
that.
Yeah.
No, it was weird looking at the take of it. Like I said, I'm not an actor. Like I'm in the classes. I want to be there with you guys. But I'm not like striving for that. And I looked at the take that I had, and it was like, it's like being a drummer, and you know, like, we're moving at the perfect rate, or like I'm moving to the left, and it's like, it's all, there's this rhythm that comes in the podcasts, into framing and all this thing. There's this like underlying rhythm, and having the same breath and having the same synchronicity in, like, as a band plays. It's like, if, like, say if Yisa Malis was the bass and I was drumming, you know what I mean? It's that same
getting that rhythm right.
Getting that rhythm right is like 80% of the battle. And then the rest of it's just like a little bit of memory and a little bit of like, okay, here's like a technique. It's like cooking. You know what I mean? But like, you get that right, man, and it's like, I was like really surprised with it because we were very in sync. I was like, oh wow, this is beautiful.
And it worked, and it played out, and you saw, you know, and I saw it in the piece. I was just like, okay, they got it. They got the
I was like, what? I'm like,
because that's
it's like getting my first like beat on the drum. Like, I remember I'm like, oh, I have like a 4-bar loop going on right now, and I was like, oh shit. Like, this is wonderful. And I was like, you know, but I'm completely unconscious of it in the actual piece of drumming and the actual piece of acting.
And that's kind of how that's really what you strive for. That's what, honestly, what a lot of the preparation is for. It's for you to get to the point where you're in the moment. You know, like, because what happens, not just, you know, in the actions of what you're saying is important, but also what happens in between the lines are important. You know, like,
subtext.
Yeah, like that's what's important. Like the action that's happening when there is no dialogue or when you're not speaking.
Yeah,
like all that is important, and and that's just on the acting aspect. There's that, and the poetry aspect. I know just also as a poet, like I had to get to the point where I'm even just when it comes to writing a piece, I have to be at peace with it. Yeah. I have to because if not, because I could write this poem forever. It can go on forever, but I have to get to a point where I'm like, okay, it has to end here. And then once I do that, then I get to the point of having to actually break this poem down so I can perform it and perform it to where I can convey it, to the audience. And even that, like, this is one of the things I would say that my theater training has blessed me with was I wouldn't have, if I did not come from it from the actor perspective, I don't think I'd be able to perform poetry because, we learned that, even like William Shakespeare wrote poetically, and I mean he wrote soliloquies. Soliloquies are just practically monologues, but he wrote, but they're in a very poetic fashion. There's a rhythm to it. So learning that and then bringing that into poetry, that's why even my poems there's a rhythm to it. There's a flow. So you can get it, and then how I convey it, like, putting the actions into whatever the words that I have written, that's what makes the performance. That's what captivates the audiences, whether you're doing that as an actor on film, stage, or screen, or you're doing it as a spoken word poet. Like that's, yeah. That's really the at least that's the goal. Well, at least for me it is. For me it is.
You were riding that beat like perfectly too. that was great. Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts, man. It's like when I just like let people rock, bro. I love like no, it's the soliloquies. I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was like,
it's beautiful. No, fucking.
So you look going with the rhythm.
Yeah, exactly, bro. There's underlying rhythms and going with them, man. It's just that's really what it is, man. It's like. There's a beautiful, like, there's the rhythm of the universe, man, and I'm becoming slowly more and more conscious of it as I get older. Like how like deep. All the planets are moving in one direction, and then everybody is moving in the rhythm of the sun, and we're all just in this.
And there is a rhythm of the universe. I mean,
beautiful opera. Tell me a little bit more about your early stuff, man. I need to figure out more about you.
Yeah.
So, what were your first pieces of poetry like? What were you getting into? Yeah.
Okay.
I want to stop.
When I was I would say probably junior high, maybe close to middle school, junior high-ish. I think the first poem I wrote was about my I had this red BMX bike for years, forever. I kept it all the way up until high school.
Huffy.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to Huffy.
Yeah. And it was that was probably my first poem. I remember it was called My Red Bike. And I just wrote about it, Do you
recall it?
Heck no. I don't remember. I remember probably the first line. I was like, I ride my red bike, I like my red bike, something like that. I don't know. It was all, I just remember writing it but it was in class, but it really just being a fan of, I would say, from doing that, but then also growing up and being a fan of hip hop music, but also reading poetry from the greats of Maya Angelou and Nikki Giovanni and learning who Paul Laurence Dunbar was, during Black History Month as a kid, and looking at his work, looking at Lincoln Hughes' work, and so being a fan of hip hop, knowing who these poets are, reading their work. And just taking that all throughout the years until when I got to high school, I wrote my very first, I like to call my first official poem where it was called The Demographics, and I wrote it. Shout out to Impact Academy, which was part of Eastside High School. And it was there, and it started in Miss Decker's class, my English teacher, Miss Decker. It was a creative writing assignment, and she went around to see people's progress, and I just I did my poem. And she was like, okay, I want you to get up. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, no, get up right now. And I'm thinking am I in trouble? And then she was like, no, I want you to say this in front of your class right now. And I was
little did she know.
And literally, that was the first time I ever performed something like that in front of the class. Perform I did a poem, a piece. That was my first spoken word performance was in her class. My Miss Decker, my English teacher's class. Yeah, shout out to her, Miss Tiffany Decker, man. Yeah, it started with her. That was the first poem, and I think I was 16 at the time. So it started from there, and then I went into college, linked up with other people who wrote, like my guy TJ, aka Insight. You know, me and him, like, he also wrote. He was from Passaic. Yeah. And we would just write poems. And we would put on showcases. We put on events like Be Mad Unplug, OAU's Soul Cafe. And we were doing performances. And that's really where I built my pedigree. And because at the same time, I was learning theater. So I was learning how to act. And I was incorporating what I was learning.
Becoming a force, bro.
Yeah, into my poetry.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, it was cool. So while I'm sitting here doing Shakespeare, and while I'm sitting here doing, the Glass Menagerie, learning that and learning the craft, I'm also applying what I'm learning into doing
the theatrics of actual performance.
Yeah.
Wow,
and one of the things I learned out the gate was like, okay, like in acting, we have to be off book. You got to be off book with your poems. And that's for me. Now, some people can actually, they can read and do an amazing job.
Yeah.
I know for me, I couldn't do it. It was restricting me.
Yeah.
So I was.
You can't make eye contact. You can't affect people so much on the personal level if you just start to go to the phone.
Exactly. Yeah. Or or the paper or the notebook. Like, I just was like, I need to because I have to live in the words.
Yeah.
Because as actors, we live in the words. So as a poet, I got to live in the words.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it started for me.
No, it's crazy because like the major and like minor thing. It's strange how it shapes you, man. Because like initially I went to school for culinary, but that was a whole different. I was in a different like lifestyle. I was
Chef Curry in the pot, boy.
Nah, I'm an okay cook, but I'm like I'm not in chef life. Huh? I realize chef life is chef life, man. Yeah. As grower life is grower life.
Yeah. Facts. Yeah. My uncle's actually a chef. He does that.
I count my college as LACC, man. And I was in for cinema, but it's weird because there's like a weird stigma against filmmakers that go to film school. They're like, it's like, dude, like the people who just don't want to go to film school are like, Tarantino didn't go to film school. But Tarantino went to acting school. A lot of people don't know that shit. Tarantino was an actor.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Tarantino was an actor and he worked at a video, but he taught himself, understandable, because you don't need a film school, but it gives you a nice network.
Oh yeah. I mean, it also gives you, because like, especially if you're coming from nothing, like you don't have, and especially like at the time when we started coming, like a lot of stuff like YouTube was in its infancy.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff wasn't even on there. Like Studio Binder wasn't on there. Film Courage wasn't on there. Like So
it's crazy. My buddy's doing Film Courage. He's doing the marketing for Film Courage.
Oh,
right
nice.
Now. I gotta talk to him.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah.
It's crazy because
shout out to Film Courage.
Shout out to Film Courage. Shout out to Studio Binder too. That was actually a really good app. That shit fucking helped Gorilla for Vincente like a motherfucker.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, man.
It's amazing. Yeah. But like during like the time when we were coming, like when like. There was a time where that wasn't a thing, where it was like I said, it was in its infancy. Like you might have had some how-to videos, but it wasn't like how it is now. Now you actually probably can get a full-fledged film education, without
YouTube.
Yeah, off of YouTube. Absolutely. But there was a time where not necessarily you can learn, but it wasn't as in depth.
I learned the most, man, and I learned the most from so after I watched that Barry Lyndon film, I was like trying to get more into it. I was like, yo, this is beautiful. This is like photography, like advanced photography. Mm-hmm. And Scorsese put out a list of 85 films. That's like, yo, if you watch these films, you'll totally understand film. Like,
I gotta see that list. I might have seen. I know. I'm pretty sure I've seen a good number of them.
I dedicated like all my fucking like time to like, yo, I'm gonna kill this list. And if I kill this list, then I'm gonna be cool.
And that's being a student. See,
that's
what you just said.
You fall in love with it.
Exactly.
You get the history. You understand now that it's not just like it's weird because it took me till I was like 21 to realize that like a movie is photography. Like I'm like what? I'm like,
you didn't see it. Dude, you had to separate.
I had my blinders on. I just and like you see the news and you see all these things, and I was like, oh, this is a photo. I'm like, oh, the photo's good because you can understand the photo.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that like every single, I'm like, dude, this is like tense as fuck. Like,
oh
I'm
yeah.
like, yo, this is the real. I'm like, but it's like, yo, if I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, I could do photography, or I can do something that, like, Scorsese's like 90, bro. He's still making films.
I would love
That's
to work
what
with
I
him.
do.
I would love to work with him. I hope he lives forever.
I got the privilege of meeting him once
nice.
at American Cinematheque in Los Angeles.
Oh, shout out to American Cinematheque.
Yo,
like
and
literally
Film Forum and Lincoln Center,
AFI,
and
like those are some of my favorite
Draft
places.
House. Yeah, all the spots that are like championing fucking film, man, are like, it's like necessary to view the shit in theaters. Cause like I said, like Apple TV kind of sucked. You know, I'm bro. It was just like it's just because it's content. It's like this is. I mean, it feels like a film. It's like taking a placebo effect of it. And it's like you can get into it, but it's not gonna be it's not the experience, bro. It's a different experience. But then again, I did study all those films on an iPad, but I had a solitary experience. It was one of the few times that I could just study, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
But I learned most from that shit. Going back to the point, I'm sorry I deviated that long, but dude, it was weird because like my major was film, and then I started to fuck around with like my electives, and I took journalism. And
nice.
It's crazy because journalism, I was like, yo, journalism is just filmmaking every day. Like, you have to make a story.
Absolutely.
Every day is a story, and the story has to be engaging enough to be able to keep people's attention. And it's crazy because those principles, I had I had 3 articles that I wrote. The first one was like, there was a producer that came to our cinema program, and I wrote about like the experience of the guy coming there. The second one was about the homeless guy who keeps jerking off on the desks. Yes.
What?
Yes. I wrote.
What?
I wrote a very sensationalist ass headline.
Hold on.
Yeah, this is LACC, roughly 2015. I don't know if you're drinking the White Claw, but I'll snap that one open.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get this straight. Are you go ahead.
Right.
Are you telling me that a homeless man used to come up in there
multiple times
and jerk off
on the desk?
On the desk.
As so I was doing the journalism program. My buddy Billy comes up to me, and I was like, yo, I'm looking for stories around the area. And he's like, oh, dude, he's like, I work at the library. He's like, this homeless guy keeps coming in, and he keeps fucking
blasting on the table.
Yeah. And I'm like, so we hear about it. We hear about the homeless guy, right? So I'm like, yo. So I go and I give Billy an interview, and I'm like, yo. I'm like, so tell me. He's like, yeah, no. He's like, guy came in with like a trench coat. He goes to the 3rd floor, and he's like shuffling around the bookshelves, and then you know, he fucking goes. He
trying to find
himself.
A picture of a woman?
So then It's like he like did it in front of like these 2 chicks. And then I was like, I had to ask the strong question. I was like, did he come? And then Billy nodded. He like closed his eyes and was like, yes. So I wrote. So the second fucking thing I wrote was called "The Mad Jaquair Strikes Again." Like, I gave him a name. I
love it, dude. I mean, that's
The Mad Jaquair Strikes Again. I have the article. It's framed. So fucking, what's going on?
The Mad Jaquair Strikes Again.
Mad Jaquair Strikes Again.
Oh, that's priceless.
I submit it to the newspaper. They edit the fuck out of it. They're like, campus decent exposure. I'm like, no, dog. His name is the Mad Jaquair.
The Mad Jaquair.
You can't not. It's the Mad Jaquair. So they edit it, but then I realized that. So then the thing hits the paper because they can't not, like, it's my assignment. They have to fucking print it. So they printed the assignment, but they edited it. And then it spread like wildfire. Like, the teachers like would read the newspaper and they're like, dude, this fucking dude jerking off on the desks. Like, everybody's writing about, like, there's like, oh, there's like the student union fair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, no,
you're like, hold on, there's someone that's whacking off.
There's a crisis going on in the fucking library, and we need to stop the Mad Jaquair.
Like, there's kids that are actually who, like, some of them tend to fall asleep on these tables.
Yes, bro. yes, bro. You're sleeping in some weird dude's splooge.
Oh,
but then, all right, so after that, I was, like, it spread around, and then they were like, yeah, and then, like, it was my article. I was very proud of my jerk-off article.
Yeah.
But I realized that's how media spreads. It's this sensationalist-ass fucking crazy shit is the shit that people care about.
Oh, heck
like it's weird, man.
Yeah.
It's parlayed into today's like culture because like we got like TikTok and shit, or like what sells, man, and it's
sensationalism, or the absurd, or things that's just wild,
shit, like, that's wild, bro.
Oh yeah,
fucking, and it's parlayed into that, which is like, I don't know, I don't necessarily, it's not the goal of the Pattersonian, but like fucking I really want to illustrate.
But it's definitely photojournalism.
It's I mean, I didn't want a photojournal with fucking guy splooging.
I mean,
that would be some,
not that.
That would be a fucking Times. That would be like the cover of Times, bro. But listen, afterward, I ended up adapting the fucking the actual story into this like treatment called meters, and I'll just give it away. So it's so you ever see Powers of 10 by Charles Eames? No? All right. So the people who have that like really nice chair, the Eames chair. There's a very, very like famous industrial design, like not industrial design, but like there's a very famous chair called the Eames chair.
Eames chair,
yeah,
okay.
The Eames lounge chair, and Eames was a great designer. But they also made like these little weird films. So they made this one film called The Powers of 10, and it starts off, and it's like this couple is having lunch in a Chicago park.
Okay.
And it's a top view, like Grand Theft Auto. And then they're like 10 meters, and then it starts to zoom out, and then it zooms out, and it's like, here's the Lakeshore Drive, and then 10 meters. Here's Lake Michigan, and all this, and 10 meters. Then here's like the Northern Hemisphere, and then here's Earth, and here's like, and then it goes all the way to the end of the universe. And then it zooms in all the way to the smallest thing. So what I did is I recreated the scene of like, there's a dude like shifty around the library books, right? And then like the eyes like catch to the fucking two chicks that are studying, and then it goes to the crazy dude's eyes.
My god!
And then the fucking
sound like a horror movie.
Yeah, and then the splooge is in slow motion. Then it hits, and there's the nuclear bomb sound.
No.
And then everything freezes. Everybody's in a freeze motion. And then I walk out of the fucking library, and I like fucking Rod Serling, and I'm like a scene from the library, and then I'm like 10 meters, and then I go like
Twilight Zone.
I go above the fucking library, and then I go to the edge of the universe, and then I go and I zoom all the way into the splooge, and then that's the beginning and the end of the world. And that's called Meters.
Wow, I like you.
Ramapo College, so you're studying theater.
Wow, what a great segue.
Yes.
Yeah. At Ramapo, I did something what was called a I did it. That's okay. Oh, that's an amazing segue. Speaking of universities, no, I didn't experience or seen or heard anything like that happening.
But, thank God, bro. That's why you paid tuition, bro. My shit was financial aid, and I mean, they paid the rent, but
that's
you gotta deal with some shit, man. Some shit. I had my iPad stolen at one point.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
college is
all right. So you're studying theater. And,
actually, it's funny because I came in as a theater major my freshman year, and I remember my aunt, my aunt Martha had. I was telling her, she called me one day. I was telling her what I was doing. When I was studying, cursed me out.
For what?
She was like, "What are you doing? Just theater? You going to really? Like you're up there just to study theater?" And then she was like, "Look. I mean, after she reamed me out, she was like, "Look, listen. What is it that you really want to do? Because it can't be just theater." And even though she called me, cursed me out and all that, but when she said that, I thought about that. And I said, she's right. I don't want to just do theater.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to just be an actor. Also, I want to write. I want to produce. Like all these things. There's many different things I want to do. Like I want to be, I want to be a creative. So many different facets. So then, what I did was I realized that at Ramapo, what you could do, which was called a contract major. Pretty much,
what the hell is that?
You sit down with a dean, and you create your own major.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, at Ramapo you create your own major. It's called a contract major. So what I did was that I was like, okay, once digging deep down, realizing all the things I wanted to do, I said, okay, I want to create a major that has the aspect of theater in it, of acting. I want mass media communications. I want filmmaking. I want cinema studies, and I want like producing and writing. I want all that to be in it, and I did. We came up with a curriculum, and I did that, and then I picked up 2 minors. I picked up anthropology, and I picked up Africana studies.
Why anthropology?
It started with me as a kid. I was big into cultures, which is probably why people like Indiana Jones was like one of my favorite characters, because he was because archaeologists are anthropologists.
Yeah.
So and just in fact how he was so knowledgeable about other people's cultures and everything, and I loved that, and in history, and so like I had a knack for that, and that's why I was like, that always stayed with me. So when I got to the point where I could actually pick it up as a discipline, I did, as well as Africana studies, because unfortunately one of the things of when you're growing up, especially here in the United States, you don't get it. You don't know the history of Africa and the African diaspora.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to know this. This is stuff I need to know. And I was like, okay, I'm going with that. And then at the time, we wanted to build up that program. And how you do that is because a lot of the organizations on campus that I was a part of, like BMAD, which stood for Brothers Making a Difference, OAU, Everyone for Social Change, SOCA, which is the Caribbean Club, and all these different organizations. We were we wanted to increase the programs there. And how you do that is by enrollment. So we all got together. Some picked it as a double major. Some of us picked it up as minors in order to increase the program so that they can continue to fund it and for us to learn. And so that ended up being my whole discipline. Studying contemporary arts is my major, picking up minors in anthropology and Africana studies. Yeah, and then doing the work that I was doing on that campus as well, being involved in student life as in different organizations. We did so much. Like I felt like we were like the vanguards of the revolution on that campus. Like, we were doing so much. Yeah, man. Now we were doing a lot. We brought shout out to John Yao, because he was the one who actually brought this up to me. He was saying like, when you guys were here, he was like, it was a different time. You guys brought a level of intelligence and militancy on that campus
that hasn't been seen before.
After. Like they haven't, like, especially like after, around. Like he said, like he's like you guys scared them because of the events and the programs you were doing and the activities we were doing. Like
they're like security.
Oh, they were like, yeah, because like even like we had
formed a white shirt and black pants.
Yeah, it was that, and it was because like we just believed it, and we grew up in a different consciousness. Like like even I grew up here in Paterson. Like I grew up in the rears of not just the black church, but also the 5% nation of the gods and earths.
Yes, and I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you did that video.
Well, that's also the sensationalism of the jerk off.
Yeah, right.
That shit spreads. Honestly, bro, I'm gonna clarify a little bit. I kind of knew that I was a little mislabeling in it.
Yeah.
But it actually, I don't know.
That was the Black Israelites.
It were the Black Israelites. It was weird as I ran into the guy. I think he's like a Pentecostal Christian or some shit. It's very weird how Main Street becomes like this open forum on Sunday. There's like a Muslim guy.
Yep.
There's the Black. I haven't seen the Black Israelites since then. But the Pentecostal Christian, and then there's just a Dominican guy that's just chilling, screaming.
Yep.
But
they do that every Sunday. Yeah, like you'll see it. Like you see it.
I love the culture, like the mix of it all, man. I was talking to Squirrel about it, man. How it's just like there's no like you don't understand as much. It is like everybody's in their own worlds a little bit. But when it comes to the schools and there's this like beautiful like fondue of fucking like culture that happened in Manchester. There was like Circassians and fucking like, black people and fucking Latinos, Dominicans. Like everybody was all. It was a big culture. Like, and you would have like people from like North Hilden and like it was just making everybody adapt to everybody else's thing of what really I feel.
And learning. One of the things about about Paterson I love is the fact that like I grew up, like I feel like I grew up in this multicultural in this space where, because like I grew up with kids who were, you know, from South Paterson. We had your Palestinian, your Turkish, you know, and Lebanese peoples who, you know, that enclave, so to speak. But also, you know, our Bengali brothers and sisters, and then also of course the different varieties of our Latino brothers and sisters,
Dominicans, black people,
like
fucking
and just being exposed to different cultures and learning.
Bro. It's fucking America.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And you know what's awesome about it is that it's America. It's very like, because America isn't pretty. Paterson's pretty, but Paterson's not pretty.
It's not pretty. Yeah. We start looking at
it's a very particular kind of like I find it beautiful. Not everybody's gonna find it as beautiful as me, or like, you know, or like the next guy. But like, you know, you could appreciate it, and you could like, you know, it's hard to digest, like, you know what I mean, from like an outsider's perspective, man. But I think America's the same way too.
Yeah, if anything, it's a microcosm. Yeah, because like past it has like, you know, because like for example, like even with like all that we talking about the rich diversity that Paterson has, you know, I think it's a microcosm of America, because yes, Paterson has all this diversity, but one of his greatest problems is such division. It's such division in this
sections,
city. Oh yeah, it's like it's sections, or like these people don't mess with this people, or like, you know, they feel like, even like I hate to say this, but you know, it's just the truth. So, you know, we having this frank conversation.
It's all good, bro.
You know, you know, growing up, you know, like, you know, having neighbors who were, you know, different cultures, like like we had like, you know, shout out to Nacho, Nani, Daylight, and you know, like we had like we grew up like in my neighborhood, you know, we had you know, a little bit Puerto Ricans who were there, and you know, they were, you know, shout out to the Villafane family, but you know, as we started getting older, you know, like I started experiencing, you know, anti-blackness coming from, you know, some of our Latino brothers and sisters. You know, like I remember vividly even like wanting to. I remember I was asking a girl out, who was I think she was Dominican. I remember her telling me, she was like, "Oh no, like no, my family don't like black people." You know, it's I'm sorry. No, that was so.
No, I love that.
But me saying that, and actually, that was actually kind of perfect.
Bro, that's one of my favorite parts of the album.
Yeah,
it's like the music syncs up. I'm sorry, but no, that's
but that's but yeah, like, but just experiencing that, and even like, you know, certain things that were being, you know, little comments or things that were said, even looks you would get from other cultures. Like I was experiencing that, you know, coming of age. You know, of course, you know. Not everyone was like that, but that was the thing.
A lot, bro. From it's crazy as I'm Lebanese, but like a lot of people think I'm Jewish.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people think I'm Jewish. I get Mexican Jew. I get Mexican gay Jew. I'm neither of those. Which is a very odd person. Is like, hola, senor. Like, hola.
Hola, senor.
You call these bagels,
like,
senor. Fucking dick. I don't know gay people. But yeah, man, fucking. I would get Yehudi a lot too from like some ads, because they think I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
But it's all good. It's fucking, you know, it's just, there's a lot of there's that stigma, man, because everybody's really sheltered in it, man. There's a lot of people. South Paterson's fucking brutal, and some of the heavy Palestinian people, they're really like. They're still like on that whole wave. It's like, dog, you're in fucking New Jersey, bro. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, it's like, you know, when you get those attitudes and perspectives, it's very unfortunate.
You just gotta fucking take it with a grain of salt, man. But the thing is, everybody's so indoctrinated.
And still be confident in who you are. Like, I ride my bike, you know, I ride my bike all over this area. Like, not just in passing, but outside of it. But like, I was riding my bike down in South Paterson the other day. Yeah. And, you know, yeah, it was, I think, like,
now you're Gucci. The South Paterson. South Paterson now is becoming like fucking Jersey City 5 years ago. Yeah,
it's just that, you know, like, but I still I noticed, like, you know, maybe like one person who was just like looking at me like,
nah,
like,
bro.
What's this Negro doing here?
No,
like I said, but it was like one person. Everybody else didn't even know, notice, didn't care, and doing their own business.
That's just Frank, bro.
Yeah,
it's just Frank. Frank's been like that, man. Frank's just pissed because his wife is leaving him.
Oh, yeah. So I'm just like, you know, I'm like, hey, what's up, you know?
Yeah. What's going on, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Moving, but, you know, that's, but yeah, like, that's one of the things that, you know, like, but I think that there's so much potential, you know, and if anything, that's what brings on the hope. That's why, like, you know, with so many different things that happens in the city, entities and organizations, you know, like, one of the things, like, I know, like, also, you know, for disclosure, you know, I'm also one of the commissioners on the Paterson Arts Exchange.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, you know, that we're chartered with is to be able to use the arts to help foster empowerment throughout the city.
Yeah.
You know, working with different communities and different entities and organizations, both public and private. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I really want to focus on and help bridging a lot of, you know, like these gaps or these you know, the division it's in the town, you know, but also even on a greater, you know, level as being an American citizen, you know. I want to do that because we have a lot more things in common.
There's a lot on the agenda for America, man.
Oh yeah,
it's like this ever-ending list.
It's like get in line, like which one?
But there's like moments of like not like, I mean, like, it's actually, it was fucked up is that, like, you ever notice how, like, tragedies sometimes they bring people together? Like, remember, like, after 9/11, everybody was like proud to be in America.
Oh yeah, it was united we stand, divided we fall.
Unfortunately, the thing I noticed where there was a lot of unity and there was a lot of, like, it was beauty, but, like, it was Najee's death. I was there at the protest for that shit, man. But when everybody showed out for that fucking man, bro, it was like, that's when I was proud, because it's like, we won't stand for it, you know what I mean? It was like, you know, there was an actual, like, moment of, like, yo, we're here, and, like, this is Paterson, like, yo, you hurt us, you know what I mean? That was
yeah, because really, especially someone like Najee, man, like, you know, rest in peace to brother Najee.
Rest in peace, bro.
Yeah,
shout out to the Paterson Healing Collective.
Yeah,
bro.
Shout out to the Paterson Healing Collective, man, because, you know, he was someone who was doing the work and trying, you know, and trying to curb, you know, and stop the violence that happens, you know, in cities like Paterson, and then even working with the police to do that. Yeah, you know, that's the thing that makes it so, you know, in part,
that's what's so hard about
it. You're like, he works with, you know, the very entity to help stop the violence in his town, and him to die in that manner, you know, bro, violently, it's you know, it's heartbreaking, man.
What's weird is you came because I'm airing the Christina thing. This will probably come out in like 2 weeks. I was airing the Christina one, and Christina in her episode, she was talking about, so the thing with her and her Senate run is that she's running on behalf of, like, she's like she's a social worker. Like, she's on the front lines with the shit. Like, she's, like, administered Narcan to people who are, like, ODing, like a community, like, person. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and she was breaking down, like, you know, how, like one, like, you know, it's like, you need to have people who are trained. It's like, there's people that are dying over just, like, cops who aren't trained to do mental health, and everybody's dressing up for work like they're about to fucking invade Normandy. And it's like,
I mean, it's so militarized, you know, the police force.
It's strange, man. It's like, it was crazy as my grandfather, and I take his last name, the Zeitoun last name. My last name is really Oliver, but I go by Zeitoun to honor my grandfather's, like, original name.
That's what's up. Salute, man.
My grandfather was a constable. Thank you. My grandfather was a constable, like, back in the day, but he was like the South Paterson, because he's a Lebanese, like, community guy. Yeah. And it wasn't like, you know, it was like walking. It was like the fucking, like, the 1950s fucking walk around with, like,
with the baton.
Yeah, with a baton, like, swinging. Like, what are you guys doing? Yeah. All right, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that. I think, you know what I mean? But it was just solving community problems, and like, there's not really that approach to it right now. And right now, it's more. It's crazy because, and that's part of the purpose of the Patersonian, man. But I really gotta, like, do more with the project.
Yeah, man. We need it, bro. We need it, man.
But yeah, fucking, like, is that, like, the news now? Like, even the news, like Najee, when Paterson Times reported Najee, bro, it was a statistic. It was, this man died on Mill Street at 3 a.m. Cops were involved. It is, you know, it is an ongoing investigation.
And that sounds very, it's very soulless.
Add. You know what I mean? All right, let's just profit off of this thing because people want. But this is the only news source that's dedicated, other than Tap Into Paterson, which is also, like, kind of algorithm based. Yeah. That man has a family. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. He has a family. He has people who care about him. Yeah, I mean, he was known throughout the city. You know, people know him.
People gather in front of City Hall. Add. Like, that's not solving. That's not any communication with the people. there's no communication at all with the people. That is just you're feeding information, and you're letting people react, not even react to their own thing, but like, you know, like, it's just there's
more, no soul.
There's more into it, bro. You like, you know what I mean? It's
there's
like,
no soul.
Like I don't know anything about the Felix de Jesus case, but like,
you
know,
that,
I know there's a guy, a man.
Salute to that family, man.
Salute to that family too, bro. That I know there's that shit, and then there's this shit, and then there's this thing, and I mean, and that's as far as it goes. But like, you have to really dig into, like, you know, here's like council meeting number 476 to see how hurt their family is, as opposed to just being able to let their family vent and actually have some healing. There's no healing in that. You know what I mean? It's just, you're just, you know what I mean? Like, I can fucking, it's like AI generated images. It's not an artist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
that's
it's like
facts.
Having that communication, man, and having that humanism is really like the whole, like, the goal of all of it. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's rough. But that, like, that's what I like about Christina's run about First Seven.
Yeah, man. When I was listening to it, I was just like, wow. I mean, just her story and her journey. You know, I think it's fascinating in itself.
Yeah.
You know, because I know, like, when she's saying, like, how the war on drugs broke up her family.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think that when people think of that, the war on drugs, they probably mostly in their mind, they'll think about, somebody black or somebody Latino, but she's Egyptian.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
yeah, bro.
It's like
it's all over the
exactly
place,
like
bro.
people did like she's like, they wouldn't think of her.
Shit.
You know, and it's like, no, this thing can affect anyone.
Bro,
it can affect any group of people.
If you Google Paterson drugs, my little cousin is the 4th fucking video. He's just begging for change outside. And somebody put a phone up to his face. He's got a fucking heroin addiction. Yeah. But you know what I mean? But
yeah, like, drugs don't listen. Drugs don't discriminate.
Yeah, but he's I don't know.
At all.
But he's like, somebody put a thing and it was like Paterson, cute people from like rich towns in Paterson. My little cousin. He's a little, he's a fucking little asshole sometimes, but he's like, he has a family. People love the fucking kid, but it's like he's got a disease.
Yeah,
you can't fucking, and
you
can't help him. It's fucked up my family too, bro. Like my fucking sister's on drugs. You know what I mean? You can't stop. You can't. You have to. The person themselves have to do it. But the way you can fucking actually go and help them is not like putting them in this containment field. Because what ends up happening is that my sister goes in. She gets hooked on drugs. Ends up in a mental facility, comes out of the mental facility, she's cool for 2 weeks, has no lines of options or work, goes right back in, is like, what's the Nas line, and fucking, he's like, people go in, do a bid, come out, do the same shit again.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
But that's the fucking, this is the rhythm of the courts, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how the universe is having the same rhythm, bro.
Yeah. That's the rhythm of the systems.
Gotta go to this probation officer. Yeah. You just become a dancer in this fucking play, but the play is the judicial system.
Yep.
And you can't escape it. But the thing is the same as all these institutions that are like talking to each other. Like there's the institution of the police where it's this fraternal brotherhood, and it's understandable, bro. I get some of the police thing, man. We gotta protect each other, blue shield, whatever.
And also sometimes I feel like to some degree they are asked to do too much.
Yes, yeah. Like they should. That's what Christina was saying.
Yeah, they shouldn't. Certain things they shouldn't be involved.
They shouldn't be dealing with mental health facilities.
Exactly.
Dude, you have a gun. Why do you have a gun?
Yes.
Why are you dealing with the crazy guy with a gun?
And you got a firearm.
Yeah, you need like somebody who's gonna like soft talk the person down. You need there are a lot of good like outreach. Like shout out to Benji. Benji's on the fucking front lines like every day administering shit. Mr. Roman.
Yeah, shout out to Benji. Benji, what up?
Yeah, but what's it called? No, man, there's just a lot of community service, but it's shit like the Paterson Healing Collective, like the Silk City Fridge, man, and all those. But like that's the thing, man. Is like they are going in and they're like going to go and fucking invade Normandy. But like some of the situations, they are like literally fighting a fucking war. Mm-hmm. But like it's not all the situations. You know what I mean? Because everybody's on this such high frequency, like of like, yo, this person got heroin, maybe a fucking automatic assault rifle, whatever bullshit. And then like, dude, it's just a traffic stop, dog.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a traffic stop. The person, it's a traffic stop, bro. Like this guy doesn't have a blinker on. Like why are the guns drawn? You know what I mean? And that happens.
Or why is there
daily,
like 4 or
bro.
5 cars? Yeah, like
why is there 5 cars? Why is there 5
why?
cars? Because you're now putting this person in a high frequency where you can't understand what they're gonna fucking do, bro. And then now we're at the end of Reservoir Dogs, and what the fuck happens at the end of Reservoir Dogs?
We all know that.
No spoiler alerts. You gotta watch Reservoir.
Yeah, go watch that. Classic, classic Tarantino joint. Classic.
Shit, bro.
Yeah, yeah. But
I was going in about like poetry and shit.
Yeah, no, right. Yeah, I'm talking about poetic justice.
Why are they jerking off on the desks? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, fucking, what's it?
Nah, yeah, man. But well, actually, to that, because essentially, we're talking about community. That's why I think it's important to have, for the citizenry to realize the power that they have within themselves, and to organize, and to be able to build factions and groups that can help better, their community. Like that's one of the things that, like, I would say I'm fortunate to be a part of, which is the Green Acre Community Garden, where we do that work with the garden. We under the leadership of Deacon Davis, we grow food, harvest it, and we give it out to the people, because speaking of mental health, what you put into your body, can contribute to that.
Oh, it does.
You need fresh fruits and vegetables, to help you out, just with your overall health, but also, that helps, that affects, your moods, your, like, all of that, things that you eat also play a factor in that. So, but if you're living in a food desert, or, a place where there's food scarcity, having entities like, like that can help, to help bring, how can I say, help alleviate the pain, that's happening in communities.
Yeah.
And that's what's it's entities like Green Acre, but also entities like like the work that Black Lives Matter Paterson is doing. Yeah. Like,
shout out to Bray. Shout out to Sir Moore.
Shout out to Zelly. Zelly Thomas. S'more Joseph. Like shout out to them, because the work that they're doing, not just on the activist part, but also with their survival programs and their like the work that they do with the community, like, giving out, food and clothing, and, their partnership with St. Joe's, like, helping people, checking their blood pressure and stuff like that. Like, and also, the fridge, Silk City fridge and stuff, like, like,
wonderful, bro.
Like, having these services, in the community. And in fact, like, they're like, what they're doing is what community building is all about, and what community wealth building is all about. That's all a part of it. Because, like, when you're constantly just in survival mode, it's hard to build. But when you have, institutions that are helping you with the survival mode, that gives you a better grip and a better, to stand on, to be able to start building community wealth.
Yeah, no, it's we literally on Saturday, everybody from Prototype, or maybe a couple people from Prototype, we went over to this conference in the city held by this community in Brooklyn called Fractal.
Okay.
And it was just talking about how mostly it was like co-living, like consultation, where it was like, this is how, like, these are roles that people play within these situations. But it was like there was one where it was talking about politics, and it was split up into different conference, like, sections, and everybody was getting, like, a little bit of gain from each one. There was, like, one where it was like how the importance of, like, a court jester, which is like the person who criticizes, like,
absolutely,
the standing power, just so that there is, like, an equilibrium, because, like, if it's all one thing, it all becomes a scale.
Yeah,
it's all a scale, and fucking, like, that's like the purpose of Johnson. That's why, like, Trump was, like, a little bit of a tyrant, because he couldn't take a joke. You know what I mean? Like, people, you have to be able to take it.
Yeah. Which is why a court jester, I think, would have been, if we'd had, like, it reminded me of that movie Robin Williams did, Man of the Year.
Man of the Year, bro.
Yeah, Man of the Year.
That was an underrated joint, bro.
Oh, very underrated.
That was an underrated joint.
But I remember him saying that he was, when he actually, like, he was like, listen, like, I'm just the court jester.
Yeah. I shouldn't be.
Yeah, I shouldn't. This is not. No. I'm here, if anything, to what you were saying, like, to be that check. On power.
Yeah, bro. Media's, I believe that's their job too, but sometimes now it just gets so to go back to the fucking media conversation, bro. It gets so sensationalist now that it becomes a...
Well, it's corporate driven.
It's a fucking trade, dog.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately,
transaction, most of them.
Let me rephrase that, because a lot of mainstream media is corporate driven, so they have a corporate agenda, and whereas there was a time where the news was seen as a loss leader, now they have. They want to make it as a profit making, making engine. Yeah. So they're gonna drive a corporate agenda, and they're gonna drive, like it's gonna operate in a very corporate manner. And that's mainstream media. Now, of course, you do have independent media outlets that they're more subscription bases, stuff like that. But
with the independent media outlets, you get fucking shit like Breitbart that is just promoting
very true,
narrative,
very true. No, yeah, you do. You have that
That's
as well.
It's a fucking like a half.
Yeah, especially with the internet. The internet has democratized everything, but at the same time, one of the backlashes is that it's giving rise to entities like that.
Yeah.
To come in and push a narrative that is false, or push propaganda to help perpetuate their agenda.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's like you have some independent media that is great. They do exceptional journalism. They're doing great investigative journalism.
Yeah.
And then you have some independent media that is like, this is just an agenda. Yeah, it's like, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Like, they're pushing like you're pushing lies, you're pushing narrative. Like, come on.
It's the sensationalism. It was like if the Mad Jaquair didn't exist and I was just trying to get people out of the library.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You'll come up with some story like that.
Yeah, and now I'm the only one with the library. So now I'm just getting all the good books.
Some of it, get him at the library. You're like, so why'd you do it? Oh, I just wanted the good books. And,
everybody, fucking filmmaker's handbook was taken for 3 days. What do you think I was?
Yeah, exactly. Do? Like, what do you?
That shit's nuts, bro.
Yeah,
but it's true. It's It's like land, bro. Yeah. It's fucked up. It's fucked up, dude. I don't know, bro.
I don't know. That's
and you got stuck on TikTok fucking van life, bro.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane, dude.
Oh, I don't know, man. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's wild.
This is an amazing interview. Thank you so much. I'm sorry this taking so long.
Hey, man, listen. Hey, when it's the time, it's the time.
It's
man.
the time, bro. It's literally it's always fucking nuts, but it's I love it, bro. Thank you for stopping by as well.
Hey, when you said it, I was just like, well, you know what? I am like downtown. Let me. That's not far.
I mean, you just missed the fucking biblical ass rains, bro.
No.
Thank God.
Yeah, at least on this day. Don't worry.
No. Yeah, bro. It was getting humid as fuck. But yeah, man.
No, yeah, definitely. It's been.
Tell me a little bit about Defiance and Desperation, bro. You gotta.
Defiance and Desperation has been my project. It's one that started when I was at Ramapo. I had the idea for it then when I was in school, and one of the things I say in the documentary is that it's a quote that I got from Victor Hugo when he said nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. And I think it took so long for me to manifest it, for several reasons. Because one, I had a dark period in my life where, this is being out of college and just trying to, figure out like losing so many resources that you lose once your college bubble bursts, which, a lot of people who are going through that right now, as like especially as we speak, who have just recently graduated, they're going through that right now, whether they realize it or not.
What the fuck to do? I gotta get my feet on the ground.
Because now that bubble is burst, and that means you lose so many different resources that you would have had available to you at an institution of higher education. That's gone. Now you have to figure out, find your way. I was going through such a dark period because when we graduated, it was around the time of the Great Recession. So, I knew people who were finance majors couldn't get a job, or just like they couldn't get any kind of footing in their field, and I was one of them, and it was devastating, and it had me in a really dark place. I was in a state of depression, and I know I had to. I was blessed and fortunate to rediscover myself, and that helped me realize who I wanted to be, and it made me hunker down, dig deep down to myself, and really figure out, okay, who do you want to be? Not what you want to do, but who. And I dug deep down and I figured out my who. But what helped me figure out my who was realizing who I was. And when I was I did that by coming across my old poetry books, my old poetry notebooks, and I just reread them. I haven't written poems in years.
Ooh, bro.
I reread them, and it was bringing tears to my eyes because it made me, I had remembered who I was.
Growth.
Yeah, like this is what I was doing, and I was like, man, this was some cool shit. Like, and me rereading that and then thinking about my time there and thinking about all the stuff that I was doing. I was acting in plays. I had gotten to my first like feature film doing background acting in American Gangster, and that's when I was still in school. And yeah, so it started there. So I was doing that, and at the same time, like, so I was filming, and then also at night doing rehearsals for, because I was playing Hamlet, like for the play that I was doing, and so it was. So I remember doing all that, finding that script, looking at it, finding like my old acting books from that I got, and then also like rediscovering all the stuff that I was doing. It helped me find out my who, and I remembered I wanted to write a poetry book. One of the things I wanted to do. I said, but first, being an actor, I got to get that. I said I got to get that back on track. So I started, taking classes. I started going to, whenever they would open their doors, to open sessions at the legendary Actors Studio, which I am, I'm a candidate for being a member, being a member of, going through that whole auditioning process, coming up. So, with my scene partner, Jaquair Stevens, who's also an actress. So, just doing that. So, I'm doing all this, getting back into it, going on auditions, going to, doing theater auditions in the city, doing film, auditions in the city, like getting back into that groove. So, and then I started, getting progress in there, doing that, being in projects, getting into projects like, Godfather of Harlem, Orange is the New Black, and Law and Organized Crime, like doing all that stuff, like, and also, but creating my own.
This is the busiest man.
Yeah, creating my own, like, starting to, we did a startup, shout out to my brothers Akiba Rhodes and Sean English, who, we did a startup and we started producing our own stuff, our own content, our own short films. And so doing that, it gave me, because like I said, I figured out my who. So this is all stuff that I wanted to do. So I'm doing it and educating myself because it was stuff I didn't know. Did that. Then it was time for me to do Defiance and Desperation. I was like, okay, I've been performing, going to the legendary New York Poets Cafe in the city, hitting up cafes, in Jersey, New York, all the way out to LA. Shout out to the Poetry Lounge. And I started realizing, okay, the book is starting to form because I'm writing poetry and I'm performing it, seeing how it, how the crowd takes it, and then getting the opportunity to be a feature poet at the legendary New York Poets Cafe. Doing work at the legendary Ivanhoe Artist Mosaic, down here at the Ivanhoe Wheelhouse. Shout
out to Ivanhoe
started
Wheelhouse,
there,
bro.
That actually was the first place I performed,
bro. That fucking
when I realized
they need to fucking, like, I don't know.
That reminds me.
I noticed they're auctioning Libby's off this week.
They are auctioning off Libby's.
They're auctioning off Libby's.
They auction off Libby's.
Like, there's Libby's, bro, but we gotta get that back up.
Yeah, man. Matter of fact,
city,
there's
bro.
a documentary. I did I was there like for the last days of the Ivanhoe. I did a short documentary on it called Rebels with the Cause, the Ivanhoe Artist Mosaic, and it's about the last days there. And I
had a cash out.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Okay, right.
Matter of fact, I even sent you the link. And just
I'll post the link in this.
I appreciate it. And just like capturing all those different artists of different disciplines, it was that place. That's why that's one of the reasons why I love this place so much, because it reminds me of that.
Shout out to Prototype, bro.
Yeah, shout out to Prototype, Phenotype, man. I love everything that y'all doing here, man. I love it, and it reminds me of that time.
Yeah,
and it was that place where,
thank God.
Yeah, like for real, man.
Thank God.
Yeah,
bro.
man. Y'all really like
what
y'all doing, man.
God, bro,
it's just like I thank you all for just this.
It was jarring, bro, when I got into here.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, bro. I was I
can imagine.
I was basically sleeping in the office, man, and I came here and I saw this. Wow. And first thing I was like, damn, I'm like, really gonna gentrify Paterson? That was the first thing I was like, really? I was like, damn. But then, and then it's just beautiful. I've learned more in my life in like the past like 2 years.
That's
I mean, I learned a lot on the mountain. Like, I'm not gonna fucking shout out to everybody in Reading and NorCal.
Yeah, shout out
like,
to North Cal.
Yeah, but like, but yeah, man, I learned so much. It's a different vibe.
Nah, that's what's up, man.
Yeah,
but you know, thank you. Like I said, it reminded me of that place, man, and that's where I performed like the first 2 poems that's in the book. I performed them there. That was the first place I actually performed it before I went on to performing in like New York and everything. And I started realizing I compiled this collection of poems, but then I was like, let me narrow it down to 10. So, and it didn't. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a book. I said, now's the time, because everybody was like, oh, you know, so you gonna do a book? And I was just like, I am. But I didn't, you know, I didn't feel like it was ready yet because I didn't have it. But when I narrowed it down to 10, I said, okay, I got it. Except that the last 2 I had to finish. I never finished the poem. So I was going to Jersey City, hanging out at the waterfront because I had a writer's block for a second. I couldn't write. And I was like, all right, let me go here and get this inspiration. And just being in that area, in this environment, and just the energy of the people and everyone, it helped me be able to write it. So I finished the last 2 poems, and then the technology got there to where now I could go through a distributor to be able to distribute my books into all the different stores, you know, because that wasn't always there. Everybody, you know, if you like, when it comes to self-publishing, you had to go to the print press and all that, or you went to a publisher and got a deal. Yeah. Now you can do it to where
Amazon print on demand.
Yeah, you could do that on demand. You could do smash words, you know. Like, you got so many different outlets now, especially, like, you know, like I did it through Drafted Digital and to put it into all the different stores that I wanted for it to go through. But I wanted to treat it like a project. I said, you know what? It's going to be a book. It's going to be a...
shout out to Benjamin Roman. We actually mentioned you a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we gave you a shout out earlier,
hold on, get in here. Shout out, this man is on the front lines of community.
That's right.
Every fucking day. Shout out to Benjamin Roman.
I literally just left the community right now.
Hey, bro. You need it, man. He's appreciate you, Benji.
But yeah, we gave you a big ass shout out.
Yeah, man.
Even though it's still on the same track, but we gave you a big ass shout out, man. You're like,
yeah, man.
This man's walking with a fanny pack full of N95s and shit.
Oh, wow.
You never know with this weather.
I know, bro.
Yeah, good point.
Smoke from Canada. Which is a new strain that's dropping next week, guys. I got this shit called Smoke from Canada.
Wow.
It's horrible. It's horrible. No. It's yellow ass weed.
God, you out of control.
What's it called? No.
You out of control.
I know, I'm out of it. Talking about jerking off and yellow weed.
Well, yeah, like, but at the project, you know, I was like, listen, I'm gonna approach this like a project. It's gonna be a book, and you know, I did a short documentary about the performance that I gave for the book release, performance art film, and got into the Garden State Film Festival and got into the Hampton Arts Film Festival. You know, saying salute to them. And also, instead of doing an audio book, I said I want to do a digital album. So that's the next thing that I'm working on with that project, is a digital album.
Fuck yeah, bro.
So yeah, so it's gonna be all encompassing. So you'll have your choice. You want get all, you know, you can get all of it, and it's funny. Actually, my old acting teacher said that because I did a performance at Lycum in college, and she was like, "I think you have a one-man show," and I was like, I never would have thought of that, and I was like, that may be something coming on with the works with the Defiance and Desperation, but for right now, it's gonna be that the next thing I'm doing with it is a digital album. So yeah,
yeah, bro. Is there any other future projects other than
that? Actually, what I was mentioning earlier about when I said the actor had to drop out for the short for that project, you know, that one is actually it's a series I wrote entitled The American Jungle. I wrote it years ago, and we're doing a short film version of it, which is actually going to be a pilot, and we're going to try to you know, shop it around to see if we get picked up. But that one, yeah, The American Jungle, you know, it's about a guy who has to stop his old college classmates. You know, one of them became a right-wing extremist from doing an attack at a rally in his hometown. So yeah, it's dealing with that. It's really, the series is really going to be a story about us and coming from different social and economic backgrounds, but also how we deal with American society, its cultures, its institutions, its systems. And it's going to be an ensemble piece highlighting these different individuals from different, like I said, social and economic backgrounds, but how they actually interact with the actual issues that we all face.
It's beautiful, bro.
So yeah, so we'll see. So I'm working on that, and then so it's those two projects, And then also, I'm working on my actor studio, audition that we're doing. I've been just going there, being
rocking every day.
The possibility of being a member there, the opportunity to be a member there, which I'm seeking, is something that I always wanted to do. So I'm working hard towards that, man. And then also just the work that we're doing with Green Acre Community Garden and the Passing Arts Exchange, man. Just just vibing out, man. Just working hard and just connecting with as many people as possible, man.
All right, bro.
That's all, bro.
The city's proud of you. I'm proud of you. Continue doing what you're doing, bro. Where can we find you on social media?
Yeah,
just
man.
For the people to connect. You better fucking add this man. I watch the people who watch this shit. You better connect with this man. This man is a very hardworking, fucking very positive person.
Hey,
where can we find you on social media?
Do the best I can for who I am. You can find me. I have my website, www.iamjacquair.com. But you can find me on my social media handles at I'm on Instagram at @IamJacquair, and I'm also on Facebook at Jacquair, and our fan base at @IamJacquair as well. Yep, that's Jaquair, Jaquair, just in case you didn't know.
Jaquair Gillette, ladies and gentlemen. Afternoon FM. Stay beautiful, people. Wonderful conversation, bro. Thank you.
Peace and love.